Welcome back to the Charismatic Voice. This is what happens when time after time and live chat after live chat, someone says, I can't believe you don't know Pat Benatar. Yes, I think I've heard a few of her songs in passing, but no, I don't know her voice. I've never analyzed her before. And yes, that really is me every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Arizona time. And next time I will say, why, yes, I do know Pat Benatar. So let's get to it.
We are young, hearted to heart, we stand. No promises, no demands. Love is a battlefield. We are strong.
Whoa. Oh my gosh, it sounds like she has some pipes. It was so interesting, the effects on the music that seem to go with the music video. I'm guessing this isn't what the studio version sounds like because there were enough effects in and out and sound like car sounds as well added to it. I think that it's been probably manipulated for the music video. But let me know if I'm wrong in live chat. And it feels familiar. I think I've heard this probably like in a shopping mall or something like that. Also, it feels so 80s. Like I was trying to figure out what makes it feel 80s, and I'll go back to that in just a bit. Let's go back to the beginning for now. Right, like no way there's sirens like that in the actual studio track. Okay, 80s. Things that say 80s to me are these kinds of synths, sweeping synths, right? They don't sound very organic. They sound very electronic. A general feeling of up. Anytime there is a beat, it feels like it's releasing up. It's got maybe a shorter release. It doesn't feel like it's digging into the ground. In fact, everything feels like it's up. Like the hair feels like it's up. The style often has like little poofs that feel like they're going up. So lots of up.
We are young, hearted to heart, we stand.
She's a nice speaking voice.
No promises, no demands. Love is a battlefield. We are strong.
That's such a cool sonic transition. The way that it sounds like she's essentially behind a filter and then she bursts out of this door and she's very present. That's a cool sound journey to go through.
Love is a battlefield. We are strong.
You leave this house now!
No one can tell us we're wrong.
You can just forget about coming back!
Sunshine our hearts for so long. Both of us knowing love is a battlefield.
Ooh, okay. This is sounding more and more familiar. You know, you guys are right to some extent. I feel like I've probably heard Pat Benatar in some other circumstances because this is more familiar than if I've just heard it in a shopping mall. You know, maybe I've heard it in a couple different films. Maybe somebody did a dance routine to it, something like this. But I do think that it's the perfect opportunity to really get into the nitty-gritty of what she's doing with her voice, because I've never before remarked on what a powerhouse vocalist she is. But you can tell within the very first phrase that she sings that she's got a vocal force to be reckoned with. I'm going to go back to that moment.
Love is a battlefield.
That's amazing. Oh man, it's nice to have the dialogue and the thing of the music video going on too. Uh, I'm definitely excited to see where the storyline goes. But holy crap, her vocal entrance on "We Are Strong," it has so much power in this belted sound. She's taking up a full, very full engagement in the vocal folds, so they're engaging much more thickly, and this gives this really powerful sound. It's hard to learn how to coordinate that in a way that is healthy and connected, and she sounds great on it. And then on top of that, she's adding an extra layer of distortions, a little. There's that rock edge that I think I come to associate it with rock and roll, though I'd love to hear it moving into other genres as well. I'm curious to hear what it'll sound like in some genres where it typically wouldn't exist. And that other layer tends to be created with different anatomical features in the throat. If you create that grit with true vocal folds, that's when you're more likely to lose your voice or do some sort of damage. If you create that kind of sound above the true vocal folds, that creates a really fun texture on top of the pitch, and it's very sustainable. And I love the way that that sounds in rock. That's part of how we get our bite. It's a really cool diphthong.
You leave this.
She has so much in "We Are," and then I love in "Strong" how she has a little bit less and she just trails off of it.
You leave this house now.
No one can tell us we're wrong.
You can just forget about coming back.
Searching our hearts for so long. Both of us knowing love is a battlefield.
Oh my gosh. We are going to unwrap this part in great detail because there are so many holy cow moments in it. So let's go back to her entrance one more time.
Love is a
Interesting.
battlefield.
First, the diphthong in that is amazing, right? O is the main vowel that we're going off of, but O is actually a diphthong, meaning there are two vowels in one sound, O and U. So open O and closed O. Oh, and she's going back and forth between these two, going whoa, 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 whoa. And she's very aware of this because you can see in the music video, in both when she was in the bus and here, she's being very deliberate about those mouth shapes.
No promises, no demands. Love is a battlefield.
So I love the way she crescendos out of that and then has this really strong offset where she almost like does a little yelp off of the sound into "We Are."
You leave this house now.
No one can tell us we're wrong.
And I love the way she is carrying over this phrase, "No one can tell us we're wrong." And she takes that melody up higher there and makes this gorgeous, gorgeous, and complete phrase.
You leave this house now.
No one can tell us we're wrong.
You can just forget about coming back.
Searching our hearts for so long.
This is awesome too, the dialogue back and forth. And I'm guessing in the original, I don't know if she'd already planned a music video, but there's space between and it makes it so you could actually insert a conversation. And that's a really good way to keep a song alive during a performance tour. You need to find some way, if there's space between phrases, you have to have emotions and thoughts that are keeping that empty space alive for your audience. If you have an imaginary conversation going on with somebody in the audience or on stage, wherever it is, of course you don't want to look totally crazy, but if that's going through your head, it makes it so your energy still stays up and doesn't drop in the silence. Really, really cool trick.
Back.
Searching our hearts for so long.
There's another great diphthong.
Both of us knowing love is a battlefield.
And so she's been linking these much longer phrases. And then here, after both of us knowing, there's this really big gap before she sings "Love is a Battlefield," which is an incredible set of 4 words on its own. So I think it's such a great way to set that apart and start to bring us into the storyline a little bit more. We'll keep going. This is interesting because it definitely feels like a song about an amorous relationship, but the plot of the music video seems to be much more about independence of a young woman. There was sort of being shut out of the home slash a certain independence, I think, to leave and go do her own thing. So I'm kind of getting mixed messages, and I think that's actually the intention, that we have multiple different kinds of love and the fight and the struggle within. But it's a lot to take in right now, I have to say. So I'm going to go back one more time. I think that's a brother too. I love the way she's carrying so much energy into her last words here. There's urgency, there's vibrato, and she's not making that last word lower, it's actually increasing and going up in pitch. Urgency. It's so cool. On Hurt and Bad, they both had fall offs, but those fall offs happen at different times. So that's one of the ways you know that she's doing this intentionally and not just as a habit that's not thought out. Why do you hurt me so bad? It would help me. Ew, that was a cool guitar response to that. Hurt me so bad. It would help me to know. Do I stand in your way? Or am I the best thing you have? Believe me, I can't tell you why, but I'm trapped by your love and I'm chained to yours. Man, her vocal line is really, really good. She's able to keep that energy going the whole time, but she isn't sacrificing a rhythm for that. That's often like opposing struggles for singers, as they think, okay, I'm going to have this beautiful legato line. So, right, we need to have phonation as much of the time as possible. It shouldn't be going up and down in volume tons. But then how do you get consonants in there? And what about pitch changes? How do we make that all seem like one big bit of goo? And at the same time, be really intelligible. So she is just really good at energizing those consonants while maintaining a lot of vocal energy. Do you hear that? It's very present. Believe me, I can't tell you why, but I'm trapped by your love and I'm chained to your side. Oh, that's lovely. We are young, heartache to heartache, we stand. No promises hard to make. Love is a battlefield. Oh, man, I really like her phrasing and breath choices. There's one where she just essentially skipped over a breath to keep that legato line and she's using the same melody pattern as before, I think. We are young. So fierce. Heartache to heartache, we stand. that heartache to heartache, we stand. It just in that single phrase alone, you hear that determination to push through.
Heartache to heartache, we stand.
Even though the sound briefly stops there, that's just for the heartache. The particular consonant that's there, that k, is an unvoiced consonant. If she put a phonation behind a k, it would become a g. G. Same articulation point. K, g, k, g. If you go back and forth between the two of them yourself very quickly and only create phonation with the g, you'll hear that that consonant has voice behind it and the other one doesn't. That's why on heartache, there's a little bit of silence. It's not a breath. It's just that consonant as she's going into we stand.
Heartache to heartache, we stand. No promises hard to make.
She bridged that one too.
Love is a battlefield. We are strong.
You know, I just realized I think that this clip automatically came up with captions on it, closed captions. I thought that they were actually part of the music video, that they wanted to have the lyrics with this one. And then I saw the vocalizing thing. I was like, oh, I think that's there. We're just gonna keep it going for the rest of the time because we started with it. But just so you know, I didn't turn that on for, on purpose. It just, for some reason, was already there. Smoky. Gosh.
No one can tell us where we're.
Wow. I love the little breaks that she's adding there with the runs. Her voice is really powerful, yet she's got precision with it.
Searching our hearts for so long, both of us knowing love is a battlefield.
Interesting. I'm fascinated by the story in the music video and just the lyrics and song and how that seems to relate to something. It really does seem to relate to a romantic relationship to me. But in this one, I love that dejected look that she's portraying in her face when she says love is a battlefield. It's I thought that this was going to be set in some really victorious way, like, yeah, like go for it. We can conquer love. And instead, in battles, people die, right? There are huge consequences, and I don't think that there's ever really a true winner. And that means, like, I think that dejection is the right response to a battle. The frustration of just that there's not going to be a perfect win for anyone here.
Both of us knowing love is a battlefield.
The delay on that synth again feels really, really 80s to me. It has like a certain bounce in it as it's coming back, ba 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 ba. Right? There's also, in so many of the sounds here, there's a certain spring to them. Again, 80s up.
Love is a battlefield.
Love that spring.
When I'm losing control, will you turn me away
Aw.
or touch me deep inside?
Huh. Part of me thinks now that maybe I don't know. I thought it was her brother in the window, but is she writing love letters to somebody? Maybe it was a first boyfriend that she was being sent away from his house or something. I don't know. There might be some. I might have been totally interpreting this wrong and thinking that it was a family thing and she was leaving, but was actually being told off from a guy's house. Interesting that would be the case and not a guy being told off from her house. Either way that it's happening, if it's family or whatever, there's just a ton of independence that's being expressed throughout this.
Or touch me deep inside. And when
shoot. So she's at a club doing some sort of dancing, but it looks like girls are all younger, men are all older, so we already have a bit of a question mark there. Not that that's always bad or something. That's just, presents a question. And then we have this idea of girls dancing not necessarily by their own choice. And it feels like, yeah, it doesn't feel like this is necessarily on her own authority anymore. At least she was able to say no to somebody right before. By the way, I hate the tradition of the guys being the ones to ask the girls to dance. As a person who's done Lindy Hop, Balboa, blues dancing, Charleston, you name it, I love swing dancing. And I think it should always be allowable that the girls ask the guys to dance. There should be no raised eyebrows whatsoever.
Will it still feel the same?
And it's okay to say no.
There's no way this will die. Leave me alone! But if we get much closer, I could lose control. And if your heart surrenders, you'll need me to hold.
Not necessarily all older, okay. Whoa, shimmy. So I know my background knowledge is in voice and music, but like I said, I did a bunch of dance before as well. I taught swing dancing. Oh my gosh, since I was like 17. This has been a long time. Haven't done it as much since I had a kiddo though. Whew, that changes things. That being said, this is such a fun dance sequence to watch, and her eye contact during it is like, it's intense. It definitely feels like she's standing up to him and being like, no, you can't do this. We can dance, but you're not allowed to dance with us. We're going to go back some. Oh, it reminds me a little bit of the independence that we see in Wednesday from the show. I think the show's just called Wednesday, the new one, right? And she has this hilarious, incredible, creative, independent dance sequence at one point. And this has sort of a similar vibe, I think, with the very serious face and attitude, but creativity. What is that look that he has? Where is it? He's a little bit terrified, but also intrigued. There's got to be a better adjective for what he's feeling right now. If you're with me in live chat, tell me, what is the emotion he's currently experiencing? Backwards bunny hops. Man, that's such a fun, again, up kind of sound. A lot of the releases are up or shorter releases in this kind of music. It's an unusual shift. I think that ah in the background is also a her there, and it's really lovely and light. That's what her head voice sounds like. And what she's singing in right now, some people will call it a belted chest or a mixed. Uh, the basic difference is she's using a lot more TA engagement, thyroid engagement, and that means that there's when her vocal folds come together and they go wacka wacka wacka. If we take it and we go like this and we sort of look this way and zoom in on the larynx, sometimes the vocal folds are just connecting in this top portion. Sometimes they have more full fold engagement. When they have more full fold engagement, the sound is thicker and stronger. It also there's some pretty strong breath pressure that builds up underneath that on those high notes, which is part of where we get this really loud, powerful sound in some of those higher belty moments.
No promises, no delay. Love is a battlefield.
Oh. I feel like she was taunting him with that dance because she allowed him to dance for a few seconds and it was like, nope, don't try and do that again, water in the face.
We are strong. No one can tell us we're wrong.
Well, it's such a cool I'd call that a descant when there's like an extra counter melody that can come up really high. There's a beautiful descant that's hanging out in the background.
No one can tell us we're wrong.
There it goes up there.
Searching our hearts for some love.
And that's that really strong belting I was talking about with more of the full fold engagement right there.
Searching our hearts for some love. Both of us knowing love is a battlefield.
Aww. Oh, I love that there was a hug at the end of that. That's very heartwarming.
Battlefield.
This really does feel like female empowerment. Huh. It's so interesting because at the end of this, it feels like the song is winding down, but then even the closed captions say the upbeat music is intensifying as it goes into a fade out. I think the idea is to send the listener off with a feeling like they can tackle the world, but maybe you're empowering your listener now. It's not just the song that feels that. You're giving them sort of a good send-off, shall we say. Or maybe that only exists in the music video. I could be looking into this and really interpreting it the wrong way because it's been changed for a music video. Wow, she really has some powerful vocals. Very, very impressive. And I'm really glad that I can finally say, yes, I know Pat Benatar. Thank you very much, all of you, for this wonderful recommendation. And if you would like some more powerhouse female vocalists, you can check out this playlist over here. Make you fall more in love with music every day.